Good morning, students. Welcome back to the course of software engineering. This video is brought to you by Newton's Group of Institutions, Macherla. This is Arvind Egireddy from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. We had pointed out in the previous session that in a practical software development project, the classical waterfall model is very hard to use. And we had branded the classical waterfall model, which is an idealistic model. So in this context, the iterative waterfall model can be thought of as an incorporating the necessary changes to these classical waterfall model so that it can be made usable in practical software development projects. So the main changes that are brought about by the iterative waterfall model to the classical waterfall model is in the form of providing feedback paths for each phase of its preceding phases. So here the feedback paths are being introduced by the iterative waterfall model, what we can see in this picture. So here, these feedback paths, they allow for correcting the errors that can be committed by the programmer during the sum phase. And as and when these are detected in the latter phases. For example, if during the testing phase, a design error is identified, then the feedback path will allow the design to be reworked and the changes to be reflected in the design documents and all other subsequent documents. So please notice that in this figure, there is no feedback path to the feasibility stage. So this is because once a team that is having accepted to take up a project that does not give up the project easily due to the legal and moral reasons. So here in the iterative waterfall model, each error should be detected in the same phase in which they are introduced. For example, if a design problem that is being detected in the design phase itself, then the problem can be taken care of much more easily. That say if it is identified at the end of the integration and system testing phase, then we have to correct at that particular stage itself. So almost every life cycle model that we discuss are iterative in nature, except the classical waterfall model and the V model, which are sequential in nature. So in sequential models, once the phase is complete, no work product of that particular phase are changed later. So here, the phases containment of errors. So no matter how careful a programmer may be, or he might end up committing some mistakes or otherwise carrying out the life cycle activities. So these mistakes, they result in errors, which we call them as faults or bugs in the work product. So it is advantageous to detect these errors in the same phase in which they take place. Since early detection of these bugs, they reduce the effort and the time that is required for correcting those errors. For example, if a design problem is being detected in the design phase itself, then the problem can be taken care of much more easily than if the error is being identified, say, at the end of the testing phase. So here, if we are able to see any sort of errors in the latter case, then it would be necessary not only to rework the design, but also to appropriately redo the relevant coding as well as the testing activities, and thereby incurring the higher cost. So it may not always be possible to detect all the errors in the same phase in which they are made, unless these errors should be detected as early as possible. So here, the principle of detecting the errors as close to their points of commitment as possible is what we call it as phase containment of errors. So here the principle of detecting the errors as close to its point of introduction as possible is known as phase containment of errors. So for achieving the phase containment of errors, the developers, they detect almost all the errors that they commit in the same phase. And after all, they end the product of many phases or a text or a graphical document. So here we can take the example as SRS documents or design documents or test plan documents, etc., etc. Because a popular technique is to rigorously review the documents that are being produced at the end of the phase. Now, let us see whether the phase overlap, what is meant by a phase overlap. So even though the strict waterfall model that visualizes sharp transactions to occur from one phase to the next, like what we can see in this figure, in practice, the activities of different phase overlaps, like a distribution of errors over the time for various phases in this particular iterative model is only due to two main reasons. One is, in spite of the best effort to detect the errors in the same phase in which they are committed, some errors, they escape the detection and are detected in the latter phases. So these subsequent detected errors, they cause the activities of some already completed phases to be reworked. So if we are going to consider such rework after a phase is complete, then we can say that these activities are pertaining to a phase and they do not end at a completion of the phase, but they overlap with other phases like what we can see in this particular figure. So here, an important reason for the phase overlap is that usually the work that is being required to be carried out in that particular phase is that is being divided among different team members. Of course, some users or some members, they may complete their part of work earlier compared to that of the other members. So if we follow the strict phase transitions, then the team members who complete their work early would be idle waiting for the phase to be completed. And they are said to be in the blocking state. Thus, the developers who complete the early, they would be idle while waiting for their teammates to complete their assigned work. So clearly, this is the cause for the wastage of resource and the source of cost escalation and inefficiency. So as a result of this, in a real project, the phases are allowed to overlap. So that is, once a developer completes his work assignment for that particular phase, then he proceeds to start the work of the next phase. There is no need of waiting for all his team members to complete their respective work allocations. So we have to consider that these situations, the effort distribution for different phases with time would be something like what we can see in this particular picture. Now, what are the shortcomings of the iterative waterfall model? The iterative waterfall model, which is a simple and which is an intuitive software development model, of course, and it is been satisfactorily used during 1970s and 1980s. But however, the characteristics of the software development project, they have changed drastically over the years. So in the 1970s and 1960s, the software development projects, they spanned several years and mostly they are involved in generic software product development. Because here the projects which are shorter and they involve customized software development. But these softwares, what earlier developed were from scratch. So here now the emphasis is on as much reuse of the code and other project artifacts as possible. So here waterfall based models, they have worked satisfactorily over the last many years in the past. So this situation now has changed substantially. As pointed out in my first video, we discussed that there are several decades, in several decades back, every software was being developed from the scratch. Now, not only the software that has become very large and complex, and very few software projects is being developed from the scratch. So here the software services, that is customized softwares, are poised to become the dominant type of the projects. So in the present software development projects, use of waterfall model is going to cause several problems. Therefore, in this context, the agile model has been proposed about a decade back that attempts to overcome the important shortcomings of the waterfall model that is being suggested. So here in coming videos, we will discuss about that particular agile model, of course. So some of the glaring shortcomings of these waterfall models when used in the present day software development projects, we will discuss now. First one is difficult to accommodate the change request. Difficult to accommodate the change requests. How? Because the major problem with the waterfall model is that the requirements need to be frozen before the development starts. So based on these frozen requirements, detailed plans are made for the activities to be carried out during the design, coding, and testing phases. Since these activities are planned from the entire duration, so there is a substantial effort and the resources that are invested in these activities as developing the complete requirement specification and for designing the complete functionalities and so on. So therefore, accommodating even a small change request after the development activities are usual, which are underway, not only require overhauling the plan, but they also artifacts that have already been developed. So once the requirements have been frozen, the waterfall model provides no scope for any modification to the requirements. While the waterfall model, which is flexible to later changes to the requirements, here evidences that are being gathered from several projects points to the fact that later changes to the requirements are almost inevitable. So even for the projects with highly experienced professionals at all levels, as well as all computer savvy customers, requirements are often missing as well as misinterpreted. So unless the change requests are encouraged, or the development functionalities would be misfit to the true customer requirements. So here requirement changes can arise due to variety of reasons. Maybe because requirements were not clear to the customer, or requirements were misunderstood, or business process of the customer may have got changed after the SRS documents were signified. So here, in fact, of course, the customers, they get a clear understanding of their requirements only after working on a fully developed and installed softwares. So here, the basic assumptions that are being made in the iterative waterfall model, that methodological requirement gathering and analysis alone would be comprehensively and correctly identify all the requirements by the end of the requirement phase. The second reason is the incremental development, incremental delivery not supported. So in the iterative waterfall model, the full software is completely developed and tested before it is being delivered to the customer. So there is no provision for intermediate deliveries to be occurred. So this is the problematic because the complete application may take several months or years to be completed and delivered to the customers. And maybe by the time the software is delivered, installed, and became ready for use, the customer business process might have changed substantially or subsequently. So this makes the developed application a poor fit to the customer's requirement. And the third reason is phase overlaps is not supported. We discussed earlier. So for most real life projects, it becomes difficult to follow the rigid phase sequence that is being prescribed in the waterfall model. What I mean by the rigid phase sequence is, we mean that the phases cannot start, they can be started only after the previous phase is complete in all aspects. As already discussed, strict adherence to the waterfall model, they creates blocking states. And the waterfall model is usually adapted for use in real life projects by allowing the overlapping of various phases. What we have seen in the figure also. So here, the next important case is error correction unduly expensive. In waterfall model, validation is delayed till the complete development of the software. As a result, the defects that are noticed at the time of validation, they incur expensive rework, and that will result in the cost escalation and delayed delivery. That is another major cause. Next, limited customer interaction. So here this model supports very limited customer interactions. So it is generally accepted that the software development, that the software that is being developed in isolation from the customers, which is going to cause, which is going to be the cause for many problems. So in fact, interactions occur only at the start of the project and at project completion. And as a result of this, the developed software usually turns out to be misfit to the customer's actual requirements. Next, one more reason is heavy weight. So in the waterfall model, overemphasizing documentation. So here, a significant partition of the time of the developers is spent in preparing the documents and also in revising them as changes occur over the life cycle. So here, heavy documentation, though useful during the maintenance and for carrying out the reviews, which is a source of team inefficiency. And the last cause is no support for risk handling and code reuse. This also becomes very difficult to use the waterfall model in projects that are susceptible in various types of risks, or those that are involving in significant reuse of the existing development artifacts. So I expect you to please recollect that the software service types of the projects usually involve significant reuse. So these are the main causes for the failure of the classical waterfall model. These are the reasons why we are not going to use this classical waterfall model in the real-time applications. I hope you understood. That's all for now. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for the latest notifications. Thank you.